TG Geeks, episode 147, December 11th, 2017. Geeking's greetings! Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, it's not cold anymore, Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from okay, we got the doors open, yeah, I suppose. But I'm wearing my sweats because I'm cold, Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, we had winter on Wednesday and Thursday, or Wednesday through Friday, I think it was.
Yeah, now we're back to early spring.
Exactly.
Or did we regress back to late fall?
I'm
not sure.
Who knows? Well, we have, this is the start of our holiday season, and we're going to kind of be on vacation, so we're recording a bunch of stuff here, and
yeah, I don't want to say that you're getting really good at those stingers.
Am I?
Yeah, that was cute, I got to admit.
Well, I did that because this one we're going to talk to our friend Jonathan Latt, and we actually, well, we'll just go on.
Speak for itself.
The whole show is kind of revolving around one particular event later on this week, so we're going to go ahead and start the geeking as we know it. And this time on the show, we've got a returning guest, Mr. Jonathan Latt, author extraordinaire and pop culture geeky goodness. Welcome to the show again, Jonathan.
Hey guys, how are you?
This is what, the fourth time now?
Third or fourth, yeah.
I mean, I think this is number 4.
Yeah, I think so. I love doing your show, and it's so far. I keep we keep talking off air, and I keep trying to get out to Phoenix just to hang out and just stuff. It's all good, but things are so crazy. But I'm definitely going to come out and we'll just hang out and have fun. But I also want to do, when I came out for Comic-Con last year and we were all just sitting in the studio, just nerding out on stuff. And it's so much more. I love talking to you guys, but it's so much more fun when we're hanging out in person.
Oh, God, absolutely, yeah. And that's what's kind of nice. But we wanted to do this kind of as a little Christmas treat, shall we say, or Hanukkah, or Happy Kwanzaa, Christmas Hanukkah.
Don't hurt yourself.
Well, and look, I don't want to get into politics, but you know what?
Whatever holiday.
I as a pagan occultist, I even say Merry Christmas. So Let's relax.
So do I. Yeah. Well, everyone chill.
I always say Happy Christmas, Happy Christmas Hanukkah Kwanzaa Festivus.
There you go. Festivus.
There we go. Covers all bases.
I'm amazed you didn't
Solstice.
get a how do you say that and not get a cramp?
Yeah.
Well, I almost did. So.
Happy Life Day, everyone.
Life Day.
Happy Life Day. That was a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Was that a couple? Yeah, I guess it was a couple of days ago.
Coming to you live from Keswick. It's Happy Life Day ceremony.
Starring Carrie Fisher singing the worst counter melody to the Star Wars theme imaginable.
You know what though? That is such a you can watch that now on YouTube, or at least massive chunks of it. And I got to tell you, not to date myself too much, but who cares anymore? I remember being very young and watching that on TV.
So did I.
We have a DVD of it.
Oh well, yeah, we got it on DVD. But no, I did too. And what's so tragic about it is, why did we love it so much? Well, I think the reason we loved it is because we were starving for new Star Wars content, because we were still riding the high off the first film, and it was going to be a while before Empire. So yeah, we gravitated towards it because it was something.
Right. Well, and also we were young and
impressionable,
and then there's Maude for no reason whatsoever.
Well, what bugs me, this is the one that actually frosts me badly, is when I think it's the dad. Is that Itchy? Chewbacca's
Scratchy.
father, or is it no?
Itchy, scratchy.
No, it's not Scratchy. It's. I don't think it's Lumpy. I think Lumpy's the.
That's in Scrooged.
I don't remember, but it's the father, and he's watching this vid, and they got a music act, and I'm like, it really should have been ELO, not Jefferson Starship.
Yeah, but the whole thing is just a train wreck of a thing. And the only thing I can think of is they must have been on set, and every time somebody said cut, reset, they must have gone, what are we doing? Why am I'm Han Solo, for crying out loud? What am I doing here?
Well, you know that George Lucas desperately wants to find every copy of this holiday special and burn it.
Well, tough, George.
It's out there.
Yeah, and George should keep quiet, because
yes, he should.
The internet has proven time and time and again, the minute you tell the internet, I don't want this on here, it's going
to go viral.
So just keep your head down, George.
Just say nothing.
Go roll in your piles and piles and piles of money, and also stop complaining about the new Star Wars not being your vision. You sold the company, and I, for one, loved The Force Awakens. I don't think it was a perfect movie, but it was so enjoyable, and I'm so looking forward to the next one.
What'd you think of Rogue One?
Rogue One was my problem with Rogue One. There were things I loved about Rogue One. Gorgeous, right?
Oh God, it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and I love that everybody died at the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it now, I can't help you. You've got bigger fish to fry. But my problem with that is it's the same problem I had with Titanic. We know how it ends. Like, no one's, like, at the end of Titanic is never going to end with, whew.
And they lived happily ever after.
That was close.
Yeah.
We were close to that iceberg. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we know what happens. We know. So in the end, it's a very inconsequential film. But it was beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I got other problems with Titanic. And let me just get this off my chest, because now I'm going to be thinking about it and getting angry all day.
Okay, let's hear it. Do we have rant music for this? Because
I don't know.
Because Jonathan's clearly got a rant to make.
Well, this has always bugged me. She held on to the diamond for 1,000 years. Yeah, because your kids probably couldn't have used college money, and then you throw it into the sea. You're a terrible person. You sell that diamond and you live a good life. That's what Jack would have wanted. He died for your sins, and you just held on to it, and you have one conversation with Bill Pullman or whoever it was, and you chuck it into the water. No. There should have been a deckhand who saw her throw that into the ocean and gone, "What's wrong with you?" and then chucked her into the ocean.
Exactly.
After diving into the ocean to rescue the diamond but watch her drown.
Exactly.
Here, you love Jack so much, join him.
Swim, lady. Sorry. So
Anyway.
I hate that scene so much. My heart will go on. You can.
Yeah. So Rogue One was interesting.
Oh, I loved Rogue One, though.
You likened it to a World War II.
Well, yeah. The one thing that I really enjoyed about that film, I remember when I started seeing. Well, first I started hearing stories, about what they were going to do, being that this was going to be the first side story, and in my opinion, it's not really a side story.
No,
it's a prequel to 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally prequel to 4. So it's very much integral. In fact, I've now included that as part of my annual Star Wars watching. When I watch all the movies, I now actually start with Rogue One because it dovetails so beautifully into Episode 4. So but be that as it may, I remember hearing all the reportings that were being done on this film, and I thought, this really feels like it's going to be a World War II story. And you've got your Allied forces that are breaking into, the Nazi camp or whatever it may be, in order to get whatever super state secrets they have that could help turn the tide of the war. And that's what we got. It was just set with sci-fi dressing, but that's what we got. We got that World War II movie, and I was thrilled. It had all the beats. everybody died pretty much because that's what you have to do in order to sell the story. But I was 100% invested. I adored it.
I enjoyed it. Again, my problem was I know how it ends, right?
Well, that's how I was with Revenge of the Sith.
Right, but that was, so no, and I get that. No, I got lots of problems with George Lucas's prequels. From the metachlorine TED Talk to
that did turn a lot of people off.
Yeah, the Jar Jar Binks. Misa thinks I'm having an aneurysm. But they're beautiful movies, and Darth Vader is just so emo.
Oh, Darth Vader. I can't stand emo Anakin. That drives me mad. But holy moly, Darth Vader in Rogue One?
Oh no, Darth Vader in Rogue One was awesome. And I agree, it's like a World War II movie. It's very Bridge Over River Kwai, Guns of Navarone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff, and I still watch that stuff. I love all those great World War II movies.
I was going to say the one thing that I really loved about Rogue One is it sort of undid a little bit of the whole midichlorian nightmare, and that is it showed that you could be sensitive to the Force. You may not be a Force practitioner like a Jedi, but you can be sensitive to the Force to some degree, as we saw one of our main characters. I mean, that blind man was one hell of a fighter with a stick.
Well, and I love those guys.
I do too.
They're great characters, and of course, I'm always a big fan of a sassy droid. So I liked the reprogrammed droid. What was his name? The Imperial droid that had been reprogrammed.
Right.
K2SO.
Yeah, I refer to him as the anti-3PO.
Yeah. He is not vested in human cyborg relations. But no, I thought it was good. It was just, I'm not necessarily, and that might have been my problem with the prequels, aside from the other problems. I mean, they were visually gorgeous, but I had problems. Emo Anakin, Jar Jar Binks, which was just so blatant, and a couple other things. But I did. Part of me loved that fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin at the end.
Oh yeah,
because part of it just reminded me of the fight with the Black Knight in Quest for the Holy Grail.
Just want to scratch.
The scratch. How about you?
Your arm's off.
No, it isn't. Well, what's that then?
What are you going to do? Bleed on me?
I've had worse.
Just because he just kept losing limb after limb. And if anybody's listening and they're bored, go ahead and cut that together. Just that fight scene with the Monty Python soundtrack underneath.
Hey, now we need to watch that last bit again with the dialogue from Holy Grail, just for fun.
I have Final Cut Pro now, so I may do that.
Oh, that'll be great.
Sounds like somebody's got a project. But yeah, but I think we're going to see. It's interesting. I think keeping in the Star Wars thing. Some of this stuff I think I talked about this on my first talk with you guys. I'm sure we've talked about it off air, which is, one of my greatest childhood memories, and I was very young at the time, is standing in line, and the line had to have been a half a block long, with my dad at General Cinema to go in and see episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember holding his hand, and we went in there, and we just, and my dad was one of those guys, because of his generation, where, he sort of felt he very much, and I did this for a while myself in high school, where he felt he had to pretend to like sports, but he never liked sports, bored him to tears.
Mm-hmm.
He was a sci-fi nerd, right? So this movie affected him as much as it affected me.
Right.
And when I was young, we would watch Star Trek in reruns, and it's such, that's the thing is it's this touchstone of your childhood, no matter what generation. Because I have friends who are showing their children the original trilogy and raising them on this. and it seems to for the most part affect everyone the same way, which is sort of inject this sense of wonder into you, which is a wonderful legacy for George Lucas. Mm-hmm. Which is again why more so he needs to be quiet and stop complaining. Because I thought The Force Awakens, I really loved it. It was it was basically the plot of Episode 4.
Yeah.
But I thought better dialogue for the most part. Of course, the special effects were nuts. But like, I think getting back to the Force sensitivity thing, there's a lot of talk about, is Finn going to end up as a Jedi, and I think he's actually just Force sensitive. And I think that'll play out. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's
a possibility.
So
I
let's.
have a theory. What is your theory?
Yeah, let's switch gears to Last Jedi then.
Oh, okay.
What because that kind of the conversation dovetails into that, and I was going to go there anyway. What do you think about what you've seen so far as trailers for Last Jedi?
I'm so biased because I'm in, right? I mean, I'm in. I would literally have to see Jar Jar Binks or or some sort of, what is it, a Gungam or whatever, to go, oh, for God's sake. So I like what I'm seeing. I'm trying to just watch them purely and not get into all the online speculation about Rey is going to be bad or get turned to the dark side, or she's Snoke's girlfriend or whatever they're.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the May-December relationship.
Yeah, there we go.
But I like what I see, and the interesting thing is, trying to just watch it in a bubble, because you hear every day new rumors and new theories. And of course now they're planning another 3 movies completely different from the Skywalker family story. I don't know. I mean, if this is, again, I think there are certain things that are going to be revealed. I don't think Rey goes dark.
No, I think we're being misled by the trailers.
I think everything in the trailers is very misleading, especially when Luke says maybe it's time for the Jedi to end.
Yeah, they'll edit. Well, hey, they do worse. They do worse in trailers. Not only do they re-edit it in order to lead you down the wrong path,
they give you stuff that's not even in the film.
Exactly. So I think I really think we're being misled here. I mean, because they're also trying to make it sound like that maybe Luke goes to the dark side, and absolutely. I tell you, if they did that, there would be a revolt.
And absolutely not. I mean, if he was going to go to the dark side, he wouldn't be hiding out in the, most, one of the most remote places in the galaxy.
In Ireland.
Yeah, he'd have gone, full.
So that's an Jedi temple.
May the faith and Begorra be with you. but I think, I look at Finn, and I'm really looking forward. Finn is one of my favorite characters in a very long time, because he's the everyman. He is more the Luke than Daisy Ridley is, because Luke was sort of the everyman that gets thrown into this, insane fantasy story. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I think Daisy is the hero, but Finn is the person, he's the guy sitting next to us in the movie theater watching it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it's a very interesting journey. Of course, I, like everybody else, want to know who the cute little half platypus, half chipmunk thing. That's
the pierogies. Are they pierogies? Is that? Oh, that's the.
Yeah, no, that's
pierogies.
I mean,
not pierogies.
They would probably make excellent pierogi filling.
Yeah.
Everything in Star Wars tastes like chicken.
It's chicken.
But so even I went, okay, that's adorable. But that's a far less annoying cash grab than Jar Jar.
We can hope. We can only hope.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be great, and I have some theories. Like, I think the whole thing with I think Daisy Ridley's character. I think Rey is Han and Leia's daughter.
That's a popular opinion right now.
I really think she is, and there were all these other theories going around. Having said that, I'm, because I don't know how many times I've rewatched Force Awakens, and I'll watch it again before I go see this one. I do think my one thing is I think Adam Driver's character does not,
Okay, yes.
Does not come back to the light side.
Oh,
but,
no.
No, but
no, Kylo Ren, no, I think he's going to die on the dark.
See, I think he goes gray.
Oh, becomes a gray Jedi.
Yeah, I think he brings back the gray Jedi Order.
So
interesting, because
that means that he's just a mercenary then.
No. The Gray Jedi is something that a lot of people have been hypothesizing about. It's been talked about since before Phantom Menace even came out. It's been discussed in books, and there are some who even say that son of a gun, I can't think of his name anymore. It went right out of my head.
So anyway, tell us about what I don't know about the Gray Jedi.
And hang on, I'm sorry, my computer being annoying. So Sam Jackson's character
considered to be gray.
Is said to be a Gray Jedi, and Gray Jedi
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes, tend to walk this middle road where they work mostly light side, but they also don't believe that a Jedi needs to live this asexual monastic existence. They believe they should be living in the physical world as well as the spiritual world.
Uh-huh. Right. It's not entirely a dogmatic approach like what the Emperor tells Anakin is.
I see.
Right. And I think Adam Driver, Kylo Ren ends up a gray Jedi. Which I think would be so much more interesting than, because he can't come back to the light. That's too Return of the Jedi. I don't think I think he ends up realizing that, that Daddy was right. And Snoke has just been, feeding off him or using him or whatever. And I think he goes gray. And I think that would be a very interesting thing. Although I will say, I think Rey, in the end, probably dies.
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think
in the third movie, and that's the release of
possible.
All, 'cause she is so I hated all the guys and girls who came out and said she was a Mary Sue. I don't think she is. And for people who are listening who don't know what a Mary Sue is, that's just a character that is amazing at everything. For no reason whatsoever. And I think there's reasons she feels so familiar with the Millennium Falcon, but there's reasons she is so quick at learning the Force. Mm-hmm. Is because she is there is so much power within her that, and again, I'm probably wrong, but I think in the third movie she will probably die, and when she dies, that release of Force energy is the thing that finally brings balance to the universe, because she's so strong. Yeah. There's that fight scene between her and Kylo near the end of The Force Awakens where she closes her eyes. Do you remember what I'm saying?
Right.
So she closes her eyes, and to me that's her first. She's sort of accessing this massively deep well of untapped energy, and she's going to end up being very overpowered. And I could be wrong, but to me that it because they can't end it, where it's the Ewok barbecue on Return of the Jedi, where they're playing drums on the stormtrooper helmets and saying grub dub yub dub and everybody's dancing. I think it needs to end a bit more 21st century, for lack of a better term. But again, I could be wrong. I don't wish death upon Daisy Ridley. I think she's lovely. And Daisy, if you ever listen to this, come back to Instagram. We miss you. Your account was wonderful.
Well, this is kind of interesting that we're having this discussion about Star Wars, and this episode releases December 11th, which is just days before Last Jedi. So it's very good that we're talking about this. So we'll see what happens in the Last Jedi.
So let me ask this: are you currently watching any television shows, be it through TV itself or through alternate means, like streaming services or whatever?
Well, I no longer I disconnected a while ago, so I stream everything through my Xbox. So I have I got the Netflixes and the Hulus.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that like the Facebooks and the Twitters?
It's the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams. So I've been actually watching a few things back and forth. So I am currently watching a show on Netflix. If you love Westerns, there's a limited series on Netflix called Godless, which is amazing.
Okay.
And Jeff Daniels plays a bad guy, and he's terrifying.
Really? He's normally not known for playing bad guys.
No, and he has a reunion of sorts with Sam Waterston.
Oh my!
Newsroom, and I love Sam Waterston. Sam Waterston did the greatest fake commercial Saturday Night Live has ever done. Just if you're listening to this, Google Sam Waterston SNL commercial and watch it. I don't want to ruin it for you. But this thing is gripping, and Netflix, man, I really enjoyed The Punisher. I thought it was a slow burn, and I really enjoyed it. But Netflix, it's like some of the episodes of Godless are an hour, but some are an hour and 15, some are an hour and 20, and they're just letting the showrunners tell the story.
Wow.
And I love a good Western, and this is a really good Western. And Jeff Daniels, again, you can't take your eyes off him when he's on camera. He is just this amazing evil, and not like mustache, twirl your mustache evil, but like, well fleshed out, three-dimensional. I really recommend everybody watch that. But of course on the Hulus, I'm enjoying Lucifer.
Yes.
We love Lucifer.
And I know I haven't seen Star Trek Discovery, but I am loving, I shouldn't say love. I do. I love the Orville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I mean, there's only one episode that really pissed us off.
There's one episode that I walked out of the room in the middle of the episode.
Oh, he was furious.
I didn't watch the rest of it. It just pissed me off so bad.
Which one?
Oh, they went to rescue these two scientists. They were actually.
It was the social media planet.
Yeah, it was the social media planet.
Yeah.
And what made me mad was that idiot didn't know when to shut up. He was just a teenage boy. It's just ridiculous.
For someone who is serving in the Union on a ship, they should. I mean, okay, I understand it's a ship full of misfits, and for the most part, I can accept that. But at some point, you got to realize, I really need to be quiet.
I need to shut up because they're going to kill me now.
Well, and also, I did have a problem with that episode because it just could have been easily explained by his commanding officer. You could. So I agree, and I think a lot of it has been. I think the main perception problem originally was. That it was Seth MacFarlane, so everybody thought it was going to be a lot of pull my finger in space.
Right.
But I've been watching it for what it is, which is Seth MacFarlane's heartfelt love letter to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes.
And when you watch it that way, it's kind of sweet. Although a lot of the stories, you go, okay, it's almost too Next Generation. Like some of it's just been lifted.
Yeah, but okay, is that a problem?
Not necessarily.
Not in my book.
No, but I would like to see them start doing new stories and exploring new things. And I thought last night, it aired a few days ago, but I saw it last night on Hulu, was a truly original episode.
Really? We haven't seen it yet.
They went into a two-dimensional pocket universe. And so it was very interesting. But yeah, so I really enjoy.
So did the jokes fall flat?
Oh dear. All right, you go sit in the corner and think about what you just said. but I've been really enjoying that, and of course, Mindhunters. I don't know if you guys saw that on Netflix. Which
No,
was,
I'm familiar with it though.
We've heard about it and heard that we should watch it.
and other than that, I've been working so hard, and of course, with my my very manly schedule of the fighting and the hurting and the limping. So, it's tough to catch up, and some nights I just don't even want to think. So I have dug back into. I started doing this the other night. So let us set the Wayback Machine, Mr. Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Picture this. It's 1997. 1998, maybe.
Okay.
And this new show comes on the air called Highlander the Series.
Oh, yes.
So this show, I haven't seen it since it was on the air. And it lasted, I think, 6 or 7 seasons.
About, yeah.
So I think when we think about Highlander the Series, we remember the later seasons, and we forget how gloriously, magnificently bad the first half of the first season was.
It was disappointing.
It's a miracle of television. Are you kidding me? I am loving this so much. Like, I watched the first episode, and it's Bull from Night Court playing the evil immortal come to kill Duncan MacLeod.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bull.
It's the only work he could get.
Yeah, but it's incredible. And it is just ham-fisted acting. It is terrible dialogue, and I love it so much. And of course, now what we're watching on Hulu is not the American edit. We're watching the international edit.
Oh, really?
Right. So every now and again, there's some French-Canadian side boob and just things that I think back in the 90s, people would have gone, oh, that's so racist. And it's just so, it's so funny, and it's like, well, this will get the viewers in Europe.
Right.
and it's just like there's just this random scene in the pilot of his girlfriend in the shower behind this sort of warped glass, so you can't really see anything. But I'm sure it must have blown some 13-year-old kid's mind when he was watching it internationally, but was never in the American cut, because we're so,
we're so repressed and puritanical.
Puritanical, yes.
I mean, I'm not. I'm a filthy heathen. It's because I was raised right. But if you've never seen Highlander, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, do yourself a favor. Go ahead and just make up a nice hot cup of cocoa and sit back and just bask in the glowing glow of the glowing glow that is just super cheesy 90s syndicated action hours. And I'm going to probably watch some more tonight.
We're going to have to pick that up after the first of the year.
Well, the thing that really bugged me about Highlander, the series, is that, okay, first I'm watching it, and all right, I'm one of these canon freaks. I don't know why. I'm just so big. I mean, ever since I was a child, I've always been a big pusher on continuity.
Yeah.
Even taking two entirely separate shows and trying to mash them up and make the canon work. I mean, that's just the way my brain works.
Right.
So I'm watching the first part of Highlander as it first appears, and I'm like, okay, this works. I was able to actually identify, where this could take place in the overall Highlander canon, and then it does this. Then it does this about face, and then tells us that actually this takes place after the first film.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of there can only be one is now, well, there can only be many.
Right. Well, and also it takes place after the first film, and then they want you to realize, then they want you to keep in mind that the third film definitely never happened.
Ew. Oh, thank you.
And we should all ignore the second film.
Yes. The only good thing about the second film was Sean Connery.
Right. And well, Sean Connery was in the first one also.
Yeah, but he's got like 12 minutes of screen time in the second film, and it's the best 12 minutes of the film.
Absolutely, and I love Sean Connery because he just doesn't care. Because I'm a Spaniard, I'm a Russian, I'm French. This is the voice you're getting, and deal with it.
And I'm only going to act this role if I can find a place to play golf.
Yeah,
because that's what he'll do. I mean, if there's a golf course nearby, he'll take the gig.
But Hunt for Red October, Highlander, it's like he's like, I'm not doing accents. This is what you get, man. I'm Sean frickin' Connery. Deal with it.
I'm an Irishman or Scottish.
Yeah. I'm Irish. I'm Scottish. I'm Spanish. I'm Russian. Yeah.
I'm Egyptian.
Yeah. Maybe I'll say caviar. But the first Highlander movie is a great movie.
I love the first film.
But again, go back and watch the pilot of Highlander because it's just because Connor McLeod, what was his name, Christopher Lambert,
yeah,
shows up and they're just so trying to weave this all together, going, yes, I heard of a tale of a man who was immortal, and and he's like, that's me,
yeah, and then Connor McLeod has his butt handed to him on a platter.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really disappointed. You're supposed to be like the one. Okay, whatever.
Right, but he's like, I'm not doing syndication money. And then there's the kid Richie, who is but it's amazing because again, this was a Canadian production, right? Before I think we were all very aware of what that entailed.
Right.
So Richie, of course, who is the cleanest cut young thug ever, mm-hmm. He's a thief and he's a ne'er-do-well. And he just looks like he's late for a bar mitzvah all the time. And he's just, he's not what we would call intimidating, and he's breaking into, every time he shows up, he's supposed to be in like street clothes or whatever. And it's like this bright green and blue and black leather motorcycle jacket. Never a motorcycle to be seen, by the way. And it's just wonderful. It's terribly magnificent. And I'm not hate watching it. I'm truly enjoying it for what it is. But also knowing that, by mid-season 2, they really find their pace, and it actually becomes quite a good show.
It certainly strikes out on its own and becomes its own thing. And actually, that's when I had an initial bad reaction to it because it then totally veered from the Highlander movie that I knew.
Yeah.
But, it's like then it became its own universe, shall we say. And then it's like, okay, if I just watch it as its own thing, maybe I can learn to enjoy it, which I did.
Yeah, and they have the Watchers, which I haven't gotten to yet. And then random stuff is coming up that I think blew my mind when I watched it the first time, which is like, for whatever reason, the lead singer of the Fine Young Cannibal shows up as a bad.
Oh, yes.
It's like, wait a minute, huh? That's just, I guess he knew the producer. Roger Daltrey shows up.
But I loved his character.
He's great. And again, this is all, I haven't seen these. This is all just from my memory, No, I know, but it's just one of those amazing, like, you couldn't do that show now. I mean, you could do a version of Highlander.
Oh, you didn't do it. Not today.
It would take itself way too seriously.
Yeah.
And but again, I think it was trying to take itself seriously, but it's just so 90s. It's like so perfectly 90s. And I'm really enjoying it. And I suggest everyone do it. Oh, shoot. I almost forgot about Runaways.
Oh, we haven't seen that yet.
I don't know how I feel yet. Part of me, really is enjoying it. And I want to see where it goes. I think it's certainly a nice take on sort of the, Marvel, I think, is starting to look. Marvel is always sort of 2 steps ahead of wherever DC is. Mm-hmm. And again, like, I saw Justice League. I thought the individual performances were great, but I am truly convinced that DC's biggest problem is Warner Brothers.
Okay, I can accept that.
No, they need to get out of the way. Warner Brothers, everything that's happening with the DCEU is Warner Brothers' fault.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes, actually, yes.
They waited too long, and then they decided, well, why do this? Why follow the Marvel model and do this smart with individual movies that will all make good money and slowly build up? No, let's catch up, which is a stupid thing to do, and do our Avengers first and then back, you know what I mean? And then, telling Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon, you need to keep Justice League under 2 hours, using Steppenwolf, but not using his real backstory from the comics, which is way more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they need to get out of the way.
I agree. Not to mention the fact that I have zero love for Zack Snyder. I mean, the guy does not like superheroes.
No.
So he's the worst person on the planet. You want to have Helm, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and part of Justice League. I mean, I think the greatest thing that saved Justice League was having Joss Whedon come in and do his own, Avengers Light take on it. But it saved the movie, in my opinion.
No, and I don't disagree. I mean, I think dismissing Zack Snyder out of hand, like what he did with Batman versus Superman, was insulting on many levels. I remember people getting so upset that he killed Jimmy Olsen. I don't care. Jimmy Olsen hasn't been a relevant character in 60 years. My problem was you take The Dark Knight Returns, one of the greatest Batman, I guess we can call it an Elseworld story, ever done. Maybe Frank Miller's it was Frank Miller, right? Maybe his,
I believe it was, yes,
one of his pinnacle achievements. And then you take the Doomsday storyline, a great Superman story.
Oh yeah, the Death of Superman thing. Yeah, that was a fantastic series.
And you go, let's disrespect all of it and just mush it together. And it was so insulting. And then the whole, and I know, I love that they're probably sitting in the writer's room going, yeah, both their moms' names are Martha. That'll do it. But Zack Snyder did do, I enjoyed 300. I thought it was actually very true to the comic book, not that the comic book was historically accurate. And I thought Watchmen, again, my only problem with Watchmen was the ending. They changed it from the much more sophisticated ending of the comic book, but I thought Watchmen was beautiful.
It was fun to watch. I hated the ending, but you're right. That's the only part I disliked.
But again, was that Zack Snyder or was that, again, Warner Brothers?
It's one and the same, and I will tell you why.
Okay,
it's because Zack Snyder's wife happens to be a Warner's executive.
Oh, God. All right. Well,
so it's all part of the same. He's just a lapdog for Warner Brothers. So, yes, they're all the same. But since you mentioned Marvel, we have to talk about the new trailer.
Oh my God, squee!
Okay, well, enough said there.
Yeah, I am so... Well, and again, Marvel, Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige, this is a guy who's been with Marvel since they were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who was there when they were, just trying to keep their heads above water and selling off rights of characters just to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is a guy who loves his, let's call it product.
His universe, yeah.
He is the I think the true successor to, for lack of a better term, he's Marvel Studios Stan Lee.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, he loves this stuff, and it shows, right? And that's why you're seeing things like Runaways, which is a totally different take on other series that are on. The New Mutants, which looks like it's going to be a horror movie, which is brilliant, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And how they have slowly built up this universe. I heard people complaining, the real bitter fanboys complaining that Thor Ragnarok was too funny.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved it.
I loved it. It was so much fun. And so they've been building up. And now we have what will be as good as an adaptation of one of the most epic Marvel stories ever told.
Agreed. Yep.
Which is the Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, again, it's going to be tough. And again, but they're doing it smart. It's a two-parter, right?
Basically, yeah.
Nobody going, okay, tell the story, keep it under 2 hours.
Well, and also the fact that they're employing two directors who are also assisting in the writing, the Russo brothers. I mean, these guys have done two Captain America films that were, in my opinion, 100% stellar. First with Winter Soldier, which in my opinion was a brilliant political thriller.
Yeah.
And then you've got Civil War, which I thought was, I mean, I could not geek out more on that film. I mean, they were able to take, a group of heroes on either side, and I was scared to see this movie because, like, I don't want to see my friends fight, because that's what they are. But I was loving every moment of it because they knew how to direct it. They knew how to tell the story and keep me emotionally invested. So now that they're doing Infinity War, and then I think the second film is going to be called Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, because it's because I believe, and I could be wrong, and one of the listeners can correct me, is pre-Infinity War, it's Thanos' quest in the comic books.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we've been getting in a number of the movies, though.
Absolutely, and then it's Infinity War, and then I think it is Infinity Gauntlet. But like Adam Warlock is the guy who ends in the comic book. I think Adam Warlock's the guy who ends up with the Infinity Gauntlet, and so so it's all these little seeds they've been planting. I will say this. I had one slight problem with Civil War, but it didn't detract from my enjoyment of it, which was that instead of being about mutant registration, it was about S.H.I.E.L.D. having oversight, which they had. It
was all about X-Men and Fox owning the rights. That's why they went the direction they did.
No, and I understand that. So I thought they did what they did. But Captain America Winter Soldier is not only the best Captain America movie. Mm-hmm. It might be the best Marvel movie.
Oh, no argument from me.
And again, it's some of them are so close, especially for me, depending on what you're into. I have thoroughly enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I love Thor Ragnarok. But man, Winter Soldier, just if Marvel had never done any other movie and that was the movie they did, I think it would stand alone as just an epic film. But all these things they've been planting so intelligently throughout all these movies. You don't show me the pod Adam Warlock is being grown in without me as a super fanboy realizing, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's other great stuff where, the end of Thor Ragnarok, it looks like they're, being intercepted by one of Thanos' ships.
Right.
And then in the Infinity War trailer, he's obviously with the Guardians. He's like, who are you?
Right.
They just sort of look at him, and it's Teenage Groot.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Groot, baby. That's I'm going to love that.
Yeah.
And so it looks like the final battle takes place on Wakanda, which is not a big surprise. Everybody's been talking about that. And I'm also very much looking forward to the Black Panther movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap this up, but I want to say this. I know that you've got plans to come to Phoenix. I think you said you're looking at February or something like that. That you're talking to privately. So, but I do know this: when you do come back to Phoenix, we're going to have you in the studio, and we're going to talk more on this because then we can really geek out on what we thought about Black Panther, because I believe it'll be out by then.
No.
Yeah.
Black Panther?
I believe it comes out early next year.
Yeah, I think it comes out
early 2018. I'm thinking February, if I'm not mistaken. And then Infinity War is May.
Yeah.
Because we're always seeing trailers for Black Panther.
Yeah, and it looks awesome.
February 16th.
February 16th. So if you come a little bit after that, we can talk about, or if we can then talk about our thoughts on Black Panther and just have a really massive geek out on that movie and how that we think that might dovetail into Infinity War, because they're going to use that as the launch pad.
Yeah.
Yet another launch pad, just as much as Thor Ragnarok does, just as much as the end of Doctor Strange does. Black Panther is going to be the thing to dovetail us right into Infinity War, so we can have that big conversation then. So, in the meantime,
yes, sir.
Because you are a man of many talents and many products. We've talked extensively about that fantastic book you wrote, The Geek, and some of your other work. If people want to know more about what you're working on at present, we know you've got a podcast and you blog a lot. Where can people find all that?
Yeah, go to jonathanlatt.com. I like to say it's all the things you don't care about in one convenient location. I have, it's so funny, and I'll keep this quick. I met with my cover artist yesterday, for breakfast. Her name's Pau. She did the cover for The Geek.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also doing the cover for the novella coming out, at the end of February called The Eastern Road, and, go to artofpau.com. And so I have, a novella and a novel coming out next year, and then 2 novels, including the sequel to The Geek coming out in 2019.
Yes.
Plus some screenplay stuff is going on. I'm producing a few films, and it's all been very, very good. But this is why I'm going on vacation for the first time in 4 years. I'm pooped. Go to jonathanlatt.com. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram, where I basically post a lot of my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu injuries. And listen to my podcast. Just go to the website. There's tons of links to useless things. But as always, I love talking to you guys, and it's always so much fun to hang out with you when you guys come out here. And next time you come out here, we'll head back to maybe Musso and Frank.
Oh God, yes.
For another steaky steak.
That sounds like a great idea.
And when I come out, we're definitely going back to that
Arrogant Butcher.
Oh, yes, just glorious meats and cheeses, not a vegetable to be seen. Yeah. But I really, really love hanging out with you guys, and it's always so much fun.
All right. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for being on the show.
Yes, thank you. It was a fun conversation. It was nice to have you on the show again.
Merry Christmas and Happy Life Day.
Yes.
Back at you.
All right, guys. This is Jonathan Latt, author of the pulp novel The Geek, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks. And when I'm not trying to come up with ways to kill off the characters in my novel, I'm trying to come up with ways to kill off the hosts of this show.
I don't remember that.
That's the number 3 one that he did.
How did I miss that one? I don't remember that bumper.
I think we played it once. Here's a few selected birthdays for December 11th through December 17th, 2017. December 11th, Vampira, Maila Nurmi. It was her real name, and it's her birthday. Also, Rita Moreno and Hector Berlioz, and Des DeMai is a friend of ours who is a comic book artist. And on December 12th, we have Mayim Bialik, Frank Sinatra, Bob Barker, and Edward G. Robinson, that we saw a reference to when we watched a movie last night.
Yes.
And also Dionne Warwick and Robert Lepage. December 13th, Tony Curran.
One of the best interviews we ever had during our Slice days.
Yeah. And also Wendy Malick, Dick Van Dyke, and Harry Gregson Williams, who is a composer. He wrote, what was it? He's the composer of Solar Express.
Solar Express.
Polar Express.
I will never be able to think of that movie the right way ever again. Thank you very much. It was forever the Solar Express.
The Polar Express. December 14th, Patty Duke, D. Wallace, and Nostradamus in 1503.
I wonder if he predicted his own birth.
I don't know. Weird. D. Wallace.
Yeah, very meta.
If we had stayed at Horrible Imaginings,
we would have seen D. Wallace
for the Sunday,
yeah.
We would have been able to meet D. Wallace. Unfortunately, we had to come back early. December 15th, Garrett Wang, Tim Conway, Charlie Cox, Michael Shanks, Gustav Eiffel, and a friend of mine from high school, Brian Dorn.
No relation to Michael Dorn,
Well, I don't know. I haven't asked Brian that, so we'll have to see. December 16th, Benjamin Bratt, Arthur C. Clarke, Kristen Ritter and Ludwig von Beethoven. December 17th, Bill Pullman, Bernard Hill, and Paracelsus. So
the only Paracelsus I know is from the TV series Beauty and the Beast.
well, he was a chemist, scientist,
Alchemist?
something alchemist. Yes, way back in the day. And yes, he was based on a true character. And we'll talk to somebody that had some involvement in what's that?
I have no idea where you're going with this.
I have no idea where I'm going either. Anyway, enough of that. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
So how would you describe a podcast like The Shared Desk?
It's a podcast that took its sweet time to do a promo.
Well, I think that goes without saying.
I mean, you could say The Shared Desk is a podcast about collaboration, because that's what we do.
Wait. There's a lot more to The Shared Desk. You got our Loot Crate Looky-Loo.
Oh, what's in the box?
And then what we're doing when we're not writing, usually it's pretty nerdy.
Nerd!
And then there are the drop-ins.
Has the whole world gone crazy?
Yes, there are drop-ins.
And we love having guests on the show. It's The Shared Desk, after all.
And if it's Katie or Lauren, you get some lovely singing as well.
So find The Shared Desk on iTunes, Stitcher, or at theshareddesk.com. The Shared Desk. 2 writers.
One podcast, different points of view.
Go give a listen to our friend T. Morris and his partner in crime, Philippa, over at The Shared Desk. And let's see, now it's time for... No.
Yeah.
Nope.
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 Nope. Not this time.
Nope.
Since we're taking a break, we're on our holiday break. We'll be gathering all of that lovely feedback. Please leave us feedback, and we'll do a feedback-palooza later on in January. And if you do decide to leave us some feedback, you can do that in a number of places at tggeeks.com on any article or on this webcast episode. You can leave comments on our Facebook page, on Twitter, on Tumblr, and also you can call us and leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And remember, please play nice.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the Two Gay Geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
And this particular show, we do have a second segment.
A tiny bit, only because of the timing of everything.
Yeah, and we'll probably not in our later shows on in
No, but
December
again,
and January.
it's all in the timing of everything. As of when we're recording this episode, we recently had the opportunity to see some finales, starting off with the mid-season finale for Star Trek Discovery.
So we're discovering Star Trek. Yes.
Yeah.
We're discovering where we're going with Star Trek.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where we're at. We've been kind of, well, I guess you could say a lot of people, including us, we've been sort of calling this one a little bit.
Yeah, I think they've gone into an alternate universe, and that's where...
You think that's where the
I
series...
think it's going to be the Mirror universe, at least that's where we were. Now,
we were in the Mirror universe,
Yeah.
and now we're in Prime universe?
possibly.
Is that where it ends?
I don't know.
Hard to say. I mean, we'll have...
Or maybe we're in a different universe altogether, and that was...
Or maybe
that's
it came
the
from a
canon.
completely third or fourth. I mean, there's alternate... There's got to be more than just, the Prime universe and the Mirror. There's got to be, a multitude of parallel universes.
Why?
Because that'd be the smart way to write it.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that
You said that, I didn't.
Well, yeah, I did. It'd be the smart way of writing it. You don't just have two. I mean, that's silly.
It's the multiverse, after all.
Absolutely. So, is this a cop out?
Is it? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I think they wrote themselves into a corner with all of the what I would call departures from quote unquote canon.
And the
and
fan upcry
and I think
was,
they're trying to fix it and figure it out.
Yeah, the fan upcry was pretty vocal. I mean, it was very polarizing. I mean, there were a number of fans that just didn't care, and then there were a bunch of other fans that did care a great deal. In addition to other things, I sort of fall into that second camp.
Well, I keep having to remind myself what I said at the very beginning. If I watch this and don't think it's Star Trek, it's okay. It's actually a good show. I mean, they've got some interesting things.
Yeah,
but
I have to agree with that.
You know, when it creeps in that it's Star Trek, it's like, oh God, no. You know.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like it in
Right.
any of the ways, and that's always been my big my big complaint is that it does not give off the vibe that I'm really accustomed to with Star Trek. I mean, I think the stories have been interesting, especially once we got onto the Discovery. I thought the series got much better. Not enough for me to pay for streaming subscription,
Right. Yeah.
but it got a lot better.
Well, the whole thing is, you know, and a lot of people are mad about this, the fact that Star Trek has always been free and we're being subjected to paying for something that's always been free, and we still get commercials on the paid service.
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
point.
so I don't know how they're going to recoup their costs of this show, because it cost a fortune, and obviously Netflix paid for the first season. How are they going to pay for the second season?
Well, is Netflix going to foot the bill for season 2?
No.
They're not. Oh, well, there you go then.
No, well, at least not that we know of anyway at this point. The problem is, too, that if they'd run it on regular CBS, their ad revenue would have more than covered the cost for the darn thing, because everybody would have watched it. You know,
Probably.
everybody.
Yeah.
Instead of this $5.99 a month for, oh, well, you haven't paid anything yet.
No, I mean, I've
They've
had
given
nothing-
us free
I've
months.
had a free subscription
So
all this time.
how are they making any money? Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that.
In any case, I mean, I thought the finale was good. If they do a major retcon by jumping into another universe, I mean, okay, that will satisfy the canon freaks, but at the same time, that is like the cheesiest of outs, in my
Yeah.
opinion. If they're actually going to, I mean, that's by jumping universes. Now we can retcon the entire show and give it a whole new soft boot. Well, that's your way of introducing the show. That's terrible, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see where it will go. It was an interesting mid-season finale. Not enough for me to kind of like, be chomping at the bit and say, oh God, I can't wait to see where this goes. I'll just simply say that it was interesting, but so far it has not really grabbed me like a Star Trek show should.
Right.
Having said that, we just saw the season finale for Orville, and I will start off by saying, holy cow, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a good finale. It was a good season finale, and it was a good finale if it doesn't get renewed.
Yeah. There were no actual cliffhangers there. Although we do know the series I've read the series has been renewed.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah, thankfully, because I really
It's
enjoyed
a really
the
good show. I mean, it's good, and they've backed off on some of the teenage humor, and some of that stuff. There's still some of it that's just annoying, but
Yeah, and I think, excuse me, I think Seth MacFarlane and company have figured out where the show's strength really lies.
right.
And as has been said, especially when we had our little chat with Jonathan today, Seth is clearly a Star Trek fan.
Right.
There is no question about it. The man is a
and they
huge
brought
Trek
a
fan.
number of different Star Trek.
Right,
you know.
Brandon Braga came over. There's a couple of other people who've had contact with Star Trek,
Yeah.
either behind the scenes or
Contact.
yeah. Hi, I know.
First contact with Star Trek.
Your first contact. Either behind the scenes or in front of the camera. So there's clearly some. This is a love letter. I think this is a love letter to those people that really love the original premise of Star Trek. And this last episode, I thought, ended on it was a familiar premise about cultural contamination
Right.
and false idolatry, things like that. I mean, we've seen that before. in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and yet I like how they handled it here. They gave it a bit of a twist, and I love the final message from the end, towards the end of the series about the evolution of this one planet. I mean, it was very optimistic, and I thought this is the message that Star Trek needs to be talking about.
Yep.
This is the utopia that we can achieve if we truly seek it. So yeah, I'm terribly happy with Orville, and I can't wait for it to come back. I mean, it's a great show.
Yep.
So moving on.
Exactly. And we're going to play something here. I did this, a number of months ago, and since Star Wars is
oh my goodness gracious me,
released later this week, I'm going to just play this little thing for you. So here we go. Thank you for calling Star Tourists Fun Unlimited, the only place to call for travel to the exotic. At this time, all of our planning droids are busy. Your wait time is approximately...
Access denied.
At STFU, we believe your time is valuable. So while you are holding, we would like to share some details on some of our more exotic destinations. Have you ever dreamed of visiting the dilithium mines of Praxis? At STFU, we can take you where no one has gone before. Extra fees for proper safety equipment. What about the planet of Krypton? A very advanced civilization with fabulous soaring cities and wondrous art. Please note, there have been reports of some slight socio-political squabbles, but we at STFU believe there is no reason to worry of earthquakes or planetary collapse. If you're into racing, try the Kessel Run. And instead of staying on dirty, overcrowded Kessel, try the Garrison Moon of Kessel for its great views. Oh, there's a note here. It appears there was an incident with a prototype moon-like Imperial base station. All travel to the Garrison Moon of Kessel has been terminated. If the arts and architecture are your cup of Raktajino, then Alderaan is your spot. Whether you want to visit the cities built on a cliff wall or the plains surrounding the many lakes, you are certain to see some nerf herding. There's another note. All travel to Alderaan has been canceled due to a rebel spy conspiracy. What about the mysterious planet of Gallifrey? We have managed to get special clearance to book new adventures to this extremely exotic destination. There is no time like... Oh, wait, another update. It seems Gallifrey no longer exists in the database. At STFU, we have come to expect the unusual. So if you want to visit any of these destinations, we suggest you visit Recall. Thank you for calling STFU.
I'd forgotten how funny that was.
Yeah. Oops, I played that sound a little too early. We have our follow-up items as always. Check out our calendar. We got several things on there. If you have a film festival or a con that you know about, please let us know and we'll put it on the calendar. Phoenix Comic-Con returns to Convention Center May 24th through the 27th, 2018. And in January, Arizona Opera presents Candide, Leonard Bernstein's opera featuring the famed song Glitter and Be Gay. This production is part of the worldwide celebration of Bernstein's 100th anniversary in Tucson, January 27th and 28th, and Phoenix, February 2nd through the 4th. Tickets still available at azopera.org. Check out the third edition of Podcasting for Dummies, written by T. Morris and Chuck Tomasi. Go to podcastingfordummies.com. Well, we want to... Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah,
Can
blah.
I talk? No, that's all. We want to give a big shout out to GoDaddy for the great products and customer service they provide. I kind of have GoDaddy withdrawal this week. I haven't called them once. I have called them talk about cats or something.
Oh, they miss you.
Yes, they are our new web hosting partner. Thank you very much. And as always, everybody knows that we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or other. We found that there is a tremendous amount of talent out there that doesn't get the big fame and fortune. So if you hear about somebody doing a crowdfunding campaign or trying to raise money for an independent project, please consider supporting them. You can usually get involved for very little, if you know, even $1 in some cases.
In some cases.
And you never know, you might be part of something big. Please consider supporting independent creators.
Special shout out to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide. You can find it by going to Twitter. Look for @TalkingWho. They are Doctor Who Talking Who. They publish a Doctor Who Fancast Guide that recirculates many of our stories. Also, you can find the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News on Twitter by looking for the Human Arkle. His Twitter handle is naturally @Arkle, A-R-K-L-E. And that special thanks to Arkle for the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News for republishing our content as well. And Arkle, also known as Brian Weber, also has the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes on Tumblr. Check it out when you can. It's great. It's a hoot. It's a lot of fun. Just don't get caught doing it while you're at work.
And we want to thank Brian Arkle for his analysis of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah,
check it out
on
our website. We're going to have a link in the show notes for that. We want to give a shout out to the Lookie Show. The twins are a hoot. They really give us some love on Twitter. And you want to check out their show on YouTube. It's called Lookie Show. They do very unique movie reviews and television reviews. So check them out.
Special shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on this wonderful, most awesome page of great geeky goodness. And the URL is facebook.com/group/thegaygeek. And as always, our most heartfelt thanks to Jeremiah Rees for giving us his blessings to share our stuff there.
Thank you, Jeremiah. We want to remind you to occasionally click on our Amazon ads. We've got ads at the bottom of each article and each webcast episode, as well as widgets on the side of the page. Doesn't cost anything. If you choose to buy something from Amazon, please click on one of our search ads. We get a little bit of a kickback. Thank you. And last but not least, check us out on iHeartRadio and Spreaker and SoundCloud and YouTube and every place. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go listen to us over there. And check us out on iTunes and review us. Thank you very much. Now it's time for that sound. That's our next time sound. Next time, we're going to have an interview with film director Maurice Hames. He has a new film out, and we'll talk about that next week. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.